Hey, True Believers, England teen here. Monday night. This is open mic night. I've got a bevy, an entire bevy, I'm telling you, of articles to go over. I saw Wes was doing a video, and I thought the article sounded good, so stopped watching. Want to put my own thoughts into this, although I'm hearing you guys already watched that video. Let's talk about it here. It's called How to Save Comics, but I was going to do one on an article that came out a couple of days ago around the 9th called Who Killed the American Comics. So we're going to do both. We'll talk about how to save it, and then we'll talk about who killed it. And but first, LK, you want to tell your story? Apparently, the Deadpool trailer came out, and for some reason you're like, yeah, that I'm not into that. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't cuss, even though we've got 3, 2, 1. Okay, fuck it. You say the F word now.
It's okay. It's not that I hate it, but as I was watching it, first of all, I did have an outward groan when I saw the TVA because I thought that we were finally over that. That being said, I was pleasantly surprised to see Matthew McFadden in it, who I know people know from Secession. I know him from a British spy show called MI5 many, many years ago. So that part was good.
I understand a little bit of where you're going, but I part of me is like, dude, you're playing into the game. You're just playing you're playing their side, their game, but the different side of the coin.
Undead Quinn hits it on the head in terms of it was a try too hard, and it was too. Not even on the nose isn't the right word. It was just too inside. It was, the recognition or giving the impression. And I'm hoping that this is in the trailer. It's not the actual movie. But I mean, if they're going full self-referential, that it's an actual film universe and all that.
Well, let me ask you something.
Did you
like? Did you like what was it, Spider-Man Far From Home or Home Alone or whatever it was? Any of the 3 Spider-Man movies?
They were okay.
Did you like any of the Spider-Man movies?
You're talking about we're talking about the
from Maguire until Into the Spider-Verse doesn't count in this particular thing. Did you like any of them?
Oh, I absolutely loved and adored the first 2 Tobey Maguire.
Okay, did you hate any Spider-Man movies or disliked to the point where I don't want to watch that anymore?
Well, I mean, I don't think honestly, I'm not sure if I watched the last Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and did you like the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson?
It was okay.
And Batman and Robin's your favorite Batman film of all time, right?
You mean the movie that I nearly walked out of? Yeah, sure.
Okay, now hold on. Let me finish my point. You are mad at Deadpool because it shows a character that was in something bad. But you've already done this game. You've played this game already, LK. Characters can be in bad movies and they can be in good movies. Just
what? Hold on. What bad movie are you talking about?
Well, you think the TVA because you don't like Loki, the TV show, and you're done with it.
That wasn't the reason why I.
But the thing is the TVA being in Deadpool or not doesn't matter, because what matters is how they were written.
No, you're misconstruing it. TVA was not. That was a minor thing. That's not what has made me uneasy about the film. It was all the references to the MCU and to the movie universe. And
okay, but that's what you mentioned.
It's just too referential.
I do agree with you. This is one of the first movies that, other than the Marvels, really that looks like if you didn't do your homework, you're not going to get a lot out of this.
I'm just going to say this follows up to the events of the ending of the second movie, Deadpool 2, where he goes through time and starts changing with things. So it makes sense that TVA would be onto him.
Actually, that does make sense because you're right. He went through just killing all.
He went over to DC Universe and killed the Green Lantern.
Green Lantern series. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, but the TVA would really actually be after Deadpool because of what happened there. So,
And like I said, it looks like Cable's not gonna be in this unless he's in later because I didn't see him in the trailer.
I thought he was in the corner of that first scene.
No.
Maybe I thought I saw him.
Some
Could be
people
wrong.
are claiming that. I don't know.
Okay,
It didn't look like him at all. I mean, Colossus in there. Maybe people saw the Colossus arm.
but that could be. That could be. I'm willing to admit. All righty, guys, but that we're not here specifically for that. We've got a lot of articles and such, and something. By the way, Eric, we owe our auction pals a little bit of an apology because you and I both have in the past said that they will never bring back Marvel versus DC.
Well, it started with Perez actually.
And yet, here we go. What I shared the wrong one. Sorry. Let me stop sharing
Remember,
that.
it started with
I had
Perez.
that good opening and everything, but they will never bring back Marvel versus DC. Now let me pull down the right article, and we have here you go. Marvel and DC Comics to republish their crossovers, including Amalgam. And it goes on to talk a little bit, once upon a time in a place called the 90s, the early noughties. Marvel and DC Comics crossovers are pretty common. Batman Punisher, Silver Surfer Superman, Batman Daredevil, Darkseid Galactus, Green Lantern Silver Surfer, Batman Captain America, and then, of course, the Marvel versus DC event. And afterwards, they did the amalgams. And we've got a list of those if you want them. There's 24 of them. In his private Facebook art collector group, artist Barry Kitson, who had worked on a couple of these crossovers, posted Marvel and DC are collaborating on reprinting many of the Amalgam Batman Punisher books. To this end, they have asked for any extras that they can include in the new versions. And he said he didn't have too much, but he had some of these alternate sketches for covers. So the word is out that they're bringing this up again, and they give a whole, there was like 24 of these things. There were 20 of these Marvel DC amalgam, and then of course it's got the list. Frankly, the one that I really liked is Superman and the Hulk, which I'm finding. Yeah, here it is, the Incredible Hulk versus Superman. I love the aesthetic of it. So, what do you think, guys? Is this something to get excited about? Do you think? Because I got to tell you, one, yes, I'm excited they're going to reprint these. Maybe it'll get people excited about the originals and such again. But does this smell of an act of desperation by Marvel and DC?
Well, I was going to say the cynical answer is somebody saw the charts for graphic novel sales.
Mm-hmm.
And started at the top and fell asleep before they got to any Marvel or DC. So, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
not shocked, though.
Go on ahead, Vink.
I'm just saying it's not a shock because after George Perez's death, they did their first kind of crossover reprint, the Justice League one.
Yeah, but that was, frankly, I did not care the way they put that out. Yeah, the whole thing was we're only going to print 5 copies, and if you get the lottery of it, that's not a reprint.
No, I'm saying open the door, give it a little nudge.
Well, okay, I could see that, but definitely they need to do the Avengers JLA as well.
Okay, I'm going to throw some cold water on this.
Okay,
first off,
throw that monkey in the wrench. We've never heard LK dump on something everybody.
Right now, all we have is Barry Kitson's word on this, and
that's why my title, by the way, says rumored.
Yeah. And I'm sure that somebody has reached out to him regarding this, and Marvel and DC are probably working on it. But we've seen things, talked about and then get pulled back. So, I mean, until there is an official announcement that, yes, we're working together, here's the schedule, this is when they're going to come out. I'll hold off. I mean, I think it would be a great thing. I think it's smart for the companies. I agree with Eric, though, and you at the same time that it also smacks of desperation because
it really does.
If the current comics were selling, they wouldn't be talking, or nobody would even be bringing this up as, hey, we should get these out there. I think that part of this is and we've talked about this before, is how well the facsimiles have sold.
Yeah. Part of the first act of desperation, I'm going to close this out because all it is a list at that point. The first act of desperation I saw was they started putting variant covers on facsimiles or whatever, however you pronounce it. When I saw, we're going to do a foil variant of the reprint of Hulk 181, I was like, oh, good Lord.
But
Good Lord. The one thing that old farts like myself, and I'm just going to put myself under that bus, really look forward to are the facsimiles, and you're going to freaking modern them up.
How can you have a facsimile? How can you have a variant cover on a facsimile? Isn't that kind of like contradictory?
Yeah,
right there.
I don't mind the foil covers because it's a 90s gimmick they did back then too. For certain books, you had foil covers, you had things, so it's nothing really new to me. But
it doesn't stop there.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense that they would actually do more reprints like this because, first of all, I don't know how they agreed with DC because they really don't like each other.
If I were Marvel and DC, but the feelings, this should never have gone out of print. This kind of thing.
Hold on, let me stand up a little bit, and then I can have it. There you go. He's on my shoulder. I've always wanted to do that.
God bless him.
The facsimiles, and then going back for the past 3 years, going back to the well and bringing back older writers to do stories, it kind of makes sense that they would do this too because, yes, they've been desperate. They've been desperate for the past 5 years. COVID really messed with them, and then the fact that they get shitty writers.
Yeah, the best books out there are the nostalgia ones. Yeah. What was the one that just came out? There was it's a continuation. Oh,
Magic
Power
Nights.
Pack. I just did a review today. I put out a review on From the Long Box of Power Pack. It's going to be on this channel.
No, Magic Nights just came out was really cool too.
Yeah, Madripoor Nights is a continuation of an old story. I think one thing though to keep in mind is, unlike previous years, I think we do have a couple. I'll call Jim Lee the editor-in-chief. I have no idea who's actually running the ship at DC right now. But I don't think there's that level of animosity, say, between Jim Lee and a CB Cebulski that there was, between Quesada and Didio. And,
what was his name? Jimenez? What was that guy's name who wanted to start a Marvel DC literal fight?
Phil Jimenez?
In the 2000s.
Oh.
He was like the editor-in-chief when Quesada started doing Marvel.
Jamas?
That's it. Yeah. He when he took over, he wanted to bring back the rivalry between Marvel and DC, but he didn't realize that Marvel and DC actually liked each other. It was all for show. It was for play. They had freaking golf and softball games, for Christ's sakes. They sent ideas back and forth. The reason why you've got Squadron Supreme was because they were able to skirt by while DC wasn't as lucky because they were both going to put.
Well, Jamas is the one.
one.
Jamas is the one who brought the era of stealing talent from the rival company and signing him to exclusive contracts, and that's
that happened before. Started. Matter of fact, Jeanette Kahn's famous for taking Frank Miller from Marvel. Yeah. What's up, Hank?
I was going to say, it makes sense that DC wanted to get down to this too because DC just lost a whole bunch of talent.
Yeah.
Ghost Machine. They're losing Jeff Johns again. That means that sales are going down for them. Mark Waid can sell some books, but that you have Jeremy Adams, but Joshua Williamson. That's not enough to keep him afloat.
Mark Waid could sell some books to everybody but Eric.
And it would make sense for Marvel because they don't have any talent left at all. Yes. Period.
Hold on. Let me get the chat into this. Hey, Englantine, didn't I ask last month if DC and Marvel would ever release a DC and Marvel omnibus? And like I said, we said, no, not with this climate. But if this comes about, and like okay said, this so far is in the rumor stage. They could be planning it. Deals could fall through, but we may have been wrong. I don't know. I hope so. I hope you can get your omnibus. I hope we could get our foil cover diamond shape embossed glow in the dark copy of Batclaw.
They better do it quick because the audience that they've been catering to would not like this because like Tim Drake is ick straight in it and things like that. And if they wait too much longer, it's like, you remember the Batman 66? Remember how it took like 40 years to get out? And it felt like it.
Yeah.
The sales were not nearly what they could have been had the Hefty family settled with whoever, I don't even remember what studio it is now, whoever was making this years earlier. They cost themselves a ton of money because a lot of the market for that, by that time, was on fixed income, passed on, didn't care enough to do it anymore. Same thing with these. These are well over 20 years old now. Some of them are like 25. Like the most recent one is like 25 years, with the exception of the JLA Avengers, which is now 20 years ago.
Wow.
So they better hurry up because the market for that is dwindling. So even if they do this, I don't know that it's going to be the runaway success that they might envision it to be. But yeah, I said it'll do okay, but they better not let too much more grass grow under their feet.
Yeah. So Eric, the Amalgam books were 96 and 97. So we're getting closer to 30 years ago.
Oh, so that's that. So Amalgam came out around the same, right after San Francisco won their last Super Bowl, is what you're saying.
There you go. Actually, you bring me to a topic.
What else? We were all rooting for them.
When I looked through that
goddamn game.
You know, the whole thing about it's 30 years. Will the audience be there? We're going to get to it in just a little bit, but we're going to be talking about how to save how to save comics or Marvel Universe or whatever it is. Wes was doing this article on his video. I thought, well, I want to read it and do my own take on it because I've got my own questions. I've got some serious questions myself to see actually can they be saved at this point. My thinking is no.
We want them saved.
And usually I'm very positive about this kind of thing, but yeah, right now I've got to say no. Do you think scalpers will buy these, then resell on eBay for 3 times the price? Yes.
Well, of course. Every trade.
By the way, I was surprised you guys were like, you got a copy of Black Panther when I put out a review of it. And so I agree with you. No. But these days, yeah, they'll do that instantly.
What?
Thank you.
I'm doing my Doc impersonation.
Well, you haven't sworn enough.
I can get that going, especially
like they used to, like Marvel Superheroes and Marvel Tales. Yeah, that would work. For us anyway. I don't know how it would go with new readers, but they can't hurt, right? If they rebooted Marvel Tales and all those to reboot the 1960s version, bring those up, see how they do. I don't know if the people who are reading Stephanie Phillips will give a shit though.
You know, except I'm still shocked that they're not just saying like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then you find out these are guest writers, artists taking turns writing the story, telling the stories.
Yeah.
Well,
because they've done that before too.
I'll say too, the cynical part of me as well. This could be as much of just to keep control of the IP as far as anything. Because I mean, as I said, we're talking almost 30 years, and nobody has done anything. So the copyright wouldn't necessarily go away, but the trademarks.
Hey, you know, there is one good thing coming out of this. Okay, we get the original Spider-Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the original Spider-Man. Yeah.
Screw you, Dan Slott. You just stole someone else's name.
I will say I think the first Superman, Spider-Man, if they reprint that, I'd probably even go tabloid with it. That will sell because I think that's evergreen. That's everybody's heard about it. But I said beyond that, I said don't waste too much time. And to your point, you said when you were saying about the Stephanie Williams thing, and then I think about when you're saying how can they be saved. I watched one of your videos today, and it was the How to Lose Guy Gardner.
I read that shit.
And the simple fact that Danny Lore is still getting work, that answers your question.
Which one was Danny Lore again?
She was the worst one in the book that you let off with.
Oh, the booster gold. Oh, that
Yeah.
sucked.
He, she, it, yeah, the person that Vita Ayala dragged into the comic book industry.
That was pretty damn bad. By the way, guys, I read How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days. Please watch that video. Don't make it don't make me have suffered in vain. What I did was I went through and then I put the stories from worst to best, and they freaking butchered Booster Gold, man. They butchered him.
I guess we got to say, thanks, Scott Snyder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm sorry, just to finish this off, I will say I'll kind of echo what Dream was talking about. As much as I would like to see the amalgams, get reprinted in a new generation to see those books and then hopefully maybe get a nice omnibus out of it. I mean, if they're looking for the bang for the buck, it's you start with whatever Superman, Spider-Man, Batman were involved in first, because again, those are the books that people outside of being diehard comic fans know.
Okay.
And so if you put nice versions of those books out there, especially get them. I hate to say it, I'm sorry, get them into bookstores. Mm-hmm. Get that space on a front end cap. Pay the bookstores to put that on an end cap. That's something that you could sell, and that's something that could be evergreen, and at least get people to start reading comic books.
I think they could actually put them in bookstores like this, and they could do individual issues. Some of those were double sized, but it's a nice hardcover. They could keep the price down because it's thin, so you're probably talking about 15, maybe 20 tops.
No.
And like I said, you get a nice copy of it. And then also they could put out onto the stands their little foil variants if they wanted to. Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, the best thing these companies do, especially Marvel, is with their I guess you call them throwbacks. Mm-hmm. They're showing you, okay, this is they're going back and continue stories. Chris Claremont can continue a story that never got finished with his Madripoor Nights, and it wasn't Jim Lee art, but it was damn near close. I thought it was pretty cool.
There's been some decent books out. Yeah. I've been reading a lot of new books. Tomorrow I want to do one of those Marvel versus DC.
And what's interesting too is, I mean, somebody at Marvel right now is really mining the history and the back issue and scrounging for everything they can. So I mean, let's think about the last year plus. I mean, we never thought the Micronauts would get reprinted. We sure as hell never thought ROM stuff would get reprinted. Now they're talking about this. I mean, what other licensed books?
It looks like they spent the last 7 years telling us to go away, and now they're trying to bring us back.
Yeah.
Honestly, DC should learn from this and bring back the DC archives. Reprint those again.
Yeah.
So, before we move on, I'd like to move on from this into the next topic, but before we move on, we'll go around the clock here. And Dominic, welcome, by the way. LK, what is a Marvel DC crossover? Pick one. I'm putting you on the spot. Your one DC Marvel crossover. Let's bring it back. Let's reprint it.
Oh, well, since I have all the amalgams, I'm gonna say I would love to get a really nice hardback edition of Perez JLA Adventures.
Okay. How about you?
Honestly, I thought JLA Adventures was one they reprinted, but
well, it was super limited quantity.
Yeah.
Benefit, so they're impossible to get.
Like I said, I just want the Superman Spider-Man Treasury editions in hardbound.
You want that? Like they did that Muhammad Ali Superman big ass.
Give me an absolute edition, like the deluxe editions they do, like Dark Horse does, or just put them all a giant tome like that.
And the chat also. What would you like to see make a comeback? How Dominic, if you're there, pop on the mic, and after Eric, you can go. Eric, how about you? Which is the one you want?
I think I would like one of those oversized hardcovers. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Yeah, something like that with a remastered the two Superman Spider-Mans, and throw in the Batman Hulk, because that was right there.
Yep.
But as far as like what JLA Avengers, it's hard to say, to not want that, because I think that was the best overall effort.
What I love?
Anything they did. because they carried it for 4 issues, and then there's the Titans X-Men. That's awfully
Yeah,
hard
that
to
would
do.
be my one. Like if we're only picking one, X-Men Titans, that's got to make a comeback. What, you're dying to say something?
I was gonna say you could bring back some of the original creative teams if they're still alive and have them do alternate endings.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I wanted to throw
George
out-
Perez wouldn't be
I
able
wanted
to.
to
But
throw
I
out
know.
one company crossover to think of if they're starting to do this. DC should go back and reprint Batman Spawn.
Again,
yeah, didn't they do that recently?
yeah, they just did that.
They put
Did
out
they?
a trade paperback. Yeah,
Yeah, because was last year they had George Capullo with teamed up with
yeah,
what's
that
his
actually
name?
happened. Well,
I-
good job, LK. You missed it, but go out
completely
and get
missed
it.
I just remember my Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane,
The worst
Spawn
of them.
Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be kind of cool if I had another one to pick. I don't think you mentioned that you don't feel the same way, but I would want Darkseid Galactus because I really like
Spider-Man, Batman is Tevi has been pointing out too.
Yeah.
That's one I own.
that. And Daredevil Batman was pretty good. All righty.